Hi there, I am Kelly Schaffner. I grew up in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I work as the owner and operator of my own business, which is called Kelly Schaffner and it's a home-based business in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I am an online reseller of women's pre-loved shoes and clothing, secondhand goods for the most part, and I market my business primarily through social media. My largest medium is YouTube. I'm a content creator on YouTube and started first as a content creator on YouTube, which eventually led me into becoming a full-time reseller of women's fashion. I went to college and studied theater arts in college, and with full intent of becoming a performer. I wanted to eventually end up in New York City on Broadway. That was kind of a dream I had had since I was a child, but it needed to pay rent. I did take a job working for the government, and it did not suit my personality at all. I worked that job. It was a desk job for a couple years, and the entire time I was doing free theater in the evening, community theater, and uh, things like that. I had started making YouTube videos surrounding women's fashion and the clothing that I was wearing myself. I was reviewing companies' clothing and the clothing that I was purchasing for myself, and I developed a following of viewers, subscribers that were interested in what I was wearing and what I thought about what I was wearing. Now, when I moved back to Las Cruces, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with myself, what I would do to make a living, because I'm old, but I'm not old enough to retire. And the reselling kind of just fell into place because companies were sending me as an influencer, they were sending me boxes and boxes of clothing to review for their companies, basically advertising for their companies. And I was ending up with a much, much larger wardrobe than any woman could wear. And it was actually the relationship with my viewers that these viewers were the ones that suggested that I try selling some of the clothing that either wasn't working for me or that I wasn't wearing, selling that on online platforms. And that's kind of how the reselling came to happen for me. And it was lucrative. So within, I would say, 6 to 9 months, I decided to take that seriously and invest in that. And within a year's time, I became a full-time reseller of women's clothing. And my YouTube channel kind of changed, and I document my experience and what I'm doing on my YouTube channel now. I loved high school in that they had such a variety of classes in kind of surrounding English. I really enjoyed English and communication, speech, debate, creative writing. All of these types of classes I was very, very interested in, and also the extracurricular activities that came with that. So I was very active in that. My downfall was always the math and sciences, and I didn't do very well in these classes. And I can remember even speaking with my father at one point in time. My parents were both teachers, and speaking with my father and saying he made me take math and sciences even beyond what was required to prepare me for college. And I really didn't want to do that. And I remember talking to him about that and him saying to me, you must take these mathematic classes because they will teach you to problem solve, which I really didn't at that time see a need for problem solving. But I do understand today that figuring these things out has really helped me today. To run a successful business, I have to know my numbers. I am a solo entrepreneur, and I am responsible for the finances of my business. I must know what I'm spending. I must know what's coming in and what is going out. Also, the value of my time. in creating content for YouTube, sometimes that could take 8 hours. Let's just say one video, 8 hours between filming and setting up and editing and releasing a video. And what is my actual pay for that video? That's very, very important because it needs to be more than just feeding my ego. If it's part of my business, it's got to make me money or it's just not valuable. So all of these problem solving skills that I did learn in high school turned out that my father was correct, that I needed these skills in my life and to eventually run my own business. If you have a desire to try something, I would say do it because this is your one and only life. Do it. Live this life without regrets. Give it a try. The thing that I learned perhaps a little bit too late, or I wish I had learned this earlier in life, was to ask for help. And by asking for help, I mean asking people how to do things. There are so many people that are willing to share their career paths or their mistakes and their victories and how they got to where they are. And I think that being open to asking for help in that manner has been probably the most beneficial thing for me.